This podcast is a 98 Studios production.
Today's the day, baby.
Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Today's the motherfucking day.
Today is the day.
Today's the day.
Today is the day.
Today's the day.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to Today's the Day with Zack Anderson. I'm stoked to have you guys. And we have quite possibly the most special episode career to date that I'll be recording. We have the one and only, my own blood, Jayson Anderson. Jayson, thanks for being here, bro.
Thanks.
We're just joking. Yeah, we're gonna have a blast. We're just joking. One day our kids are gonna watch us and be like, who the hell let these two bozos get in front of a camera? But I'm stoked to have you, dude. It's been a long time coming. And I think your guys deserve to kind of have a podcast with you on it. Man, the people deserve it. So I'm excited to kind of jive.
Appreciate it.
Before we go and kind of get into lessons learned in life and sales and how to go and maximize the opportunity and all that stuff, we'll kind of rewind it way back. So me and you, we go as far back as you can go. You're closest to me in age. We grew up just lighting shit on fire, having a good time, and have been super, super close, obviously, through childhood. And then we've literally spent 80% of our time together in our adult lives because we work together and have since we were both 18, or since I was 18, I worked in this, and since you were 18. So we've had a ton of exposure to each other and together and seen each other go through all the ups and downs of the crazy job we work. But I'm excited to have you. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll kind of dive into a couple different things, but I want to ask you, go ahead and kind of give everyone your, I dragged you into door to door. You're an 18-year-old. You actually drove me out to my first summer with our dad, dropped me and my best friend off. So you had like a front row seat to me starting my door to door career. And then 2 short years after that, you were signed up and coming out with your best friend. And I'm curious from your point of view, I don't know if I've ever even asked you this before, your intro to door, what was that story from your point of view?
So my intro, it was a little weird because obviously I'd seen you go out and do your thing the first couple of years, taking you out, like you hear all about it in the Valley. Like it's a very normal thing to go out and do summer sales, but I had never really thought of myself with the personality to do sales. Like anybody and everybody that knows me through junior high school knows you and I could have been more polar opposite as far as social life goes. Like I was very quiet, timid, like wasn't the most outgoing person. And so like seeing you go out and do it, like that was cool. I'm like, oh dude, that fits Zach's personality. Like that's hell yeah, that's freaking awesome for him. But personally, I was like never really sure if that was something that I'd be into. And then throughout it, it's just kind of like through Young Men's and through connections and going to Casey's and talking with like Kyle Woodbury and these other guys that had kind of grown from that space. It just kind of like started the question of, oh, maybe I should look at it more just to do something uncomfortable, right? Because through high school, junior high, everything, like I had never really pushed myself to be that uncomfortable. I was always pretty good at most things I tried. I was decently athletic. Like I was really competitive. That sort of drive, I just was never the most social with it. And so going through that, just kind of like testing the waters with certain people, seeing their stories with it was really, really cool. And then I started to think about what I wanted to do after high school. And I was like, oh, dude, real estate. Like that's the most tried and true thing. People make crazy money. Like what's the foundation for real estate? And it just kind of boiled down to sales.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, cool. All these guys say like door-to-door sales is the freaking boot camp of sales. Like you learn the nitty-gritty, you can get crazy into it. And so then it kind of opened the doors to be like, yeah, like let's check it out, let's try it. I mean, worst case scenario, I go get super uncomfortable and push myself to do something that makes me a different person in a good way versus just doing the same old and then seeing where I end up. So
100%. Super interesting. Yeah, you mentioned a couple of different things. We have some really, really cool influences in our life. Kyle Woodbury, I don't give him enough credit. I love Kyle Woodbury, and I hope one day he listens to this.
I saw him at the gym.
You saw him at the gym?
Yeah.
Owned a pest control company. Was like the guy was my pre-scorum leader. Really cool dude. Casey obviously gets his flowers. That's really interesting. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's cool that your reason was to go get uncomfortable because that was actually the almost the thing that made me not do it. I did it for money. Like that's why I got into it. And it's brought all those other things, but those were not my reasons. So that's a really cool reason. And then, yeah, you're absolutely right. You really, I don't know if I think I'd give you more credit. I'd say you did make yourself uncomfortable. You pushed yourself in track. You compete at a state level. Like you're really, really talented at things and you worked really hard at things. But I definitely agree. This was so far against the grain. And then to shout out our boy Jenny as well. Like your first year when you came out, you brought your best friend Jaden, Kenny, and me. I'm like, okay, I'm already so stressed because I've never led or managed. Now my little brother's coming, and I want more than anything for my little brother to be successful. And then you brought Jaden, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, this. What are we gonna do here? Like, and anyone who knows Jaden will know what I'm talking about, and he'll know what I'm talking about. Of like, I don't know what Jaden's built like. I don't know what he's built for. And then he ended up being such a freaking unit. And
Stud.
yeah, now he's just dominating multiple 6 feet. Like just really, really, really cool situation for Jaden and you. And clearly it's turned into something for you over time. So you went out your first summer. What was that experience going out with like, oh, I want to get uncomfortable? Did you get uncomfortable? And what was that experience? And then how did it lead into the years after that? And then we'll get to where we're at and we'll go kind of dissect it a little bit.
Yeah, it was extremely uncomfortable. I mean, you probably don't remember, but flew out the day after graduation. Like me and
Oh,
Jane
I
just
remember.
hopped on a plane. It was crazy. But first 2 days, obviously shadowed you, then shadowed Lamb. And I watched you guys between calls and everything. You talked to 5 people, you sold 3 of them each. And I was like, holy cow, like this is easy. Maybe I don't have to get as uncomfortable talking to a whole bunch of people. And then my first day on the doors that I got dropped off, Lamb dropped me off, and it was like torrential downpour. We had water up to our shins, and
It's in Little
it
Rock.
it was in
Little Rock,
Little
Arkansas.
Rock, Arkansas, and so it was just coming down, and I was like, "Holy cow!" Like this is I have a video that I took, and it is actually one of my favorite videos because I was just freaking laughing. Like it is the most trippy experience just being out there, and I was like, "Well, I'm already out here, so might as well go and do it." And so just freaking knocking away, you have people looking at you like you're batshit crazy on their door in the middle of a freaking rainstorm, and so super, super uncomfortable, and, like, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, like, so just trying to make conversation when I had no clue what I was talking about was the weirdest thing for me.
Yeah.
But just kept plugging, chugging, and then we ended up selling on our first day. Lamb helped come close it down, whatever, but it was cool, and then I mean, the summer, it was funny, but I didn't check my bank account once. I didn't really keep tabs on the mobile report where I was at as far as sales go. Like, it was literally just, I'm gonna go get my contacts, do my thing, and I think that helped me the most because it's like, at the end of summer, yeah, I made great money, but it was so uncomfortable, and the things that I could track were talking to people and, like, just putting myself out there, and it's like, that's
Controlling your controllables.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, really cool. What would you say from that first summer? What would you say is like one of your bigger lessons that you learned? Because I think as you talk about your experience, everyone can relate. Like, and when you're talking about taking a selfie video when it's just poor, I have a very similar video walking around Memphis, Tennessee, like laughing. I'm like recording a Snapchat video to send all my friends. I'm like, dude, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm definitely not convincing people to buy what I'm selling. I'm trying. It's not really working. And I'm soaking wet. So even if someone lets me in their house, I'm like, I'm a nuisance already because I am
dripping
through
wet.
my clothing soaking wet. My hat's dripping in the vit. So I think people can really relate to first summer experiences because it's such a baptism by immersion. Like it is
Mhm.
like you are all the way in it immediately. So I think people can relate. What would you say is like a lesson that you took away from that that's honestly just helped you in anything, whether it's helped you more in this career or in life or in your social life or like what did you learn from that summer if there was one big catalyst or takeaway for you?
I think it'd have to be that you create your own confidence. Like, you can absolutely fake it till you make it with confidence, and it's just, like, making that mental decision of, "Hey, I'm going to show up in this way," and, like, it'll work out, just having the faith in that.
Yeah.
Because that was, like, my one of my big things was I felt like I lacked confidence, but going through reading all these books, doing all these things, it's like you can go and just essentially flip that switch on your inside and just decide to do it,
You can
you know?
decide to act confident. And what's really interesting is the act of acting confident gives you confidence. Like it's really, really strange. And Tony Robbins talks a lot. I really, really like that. Just to put a different language to it, Tony Robbins talks a ton about your physiology controlling your psychology. And like you don't really have a choice physiologically to like not act confident when you're trying to sell. Like even if you're not doing it very good, even if you look very unconfident, you're still trying to act like you look confident, which is therefore you're like telling your brain, I'm confident, even though you're not freaking confident. And it's like this crazy internal battle, of like tricking yourself, but it's so valuable. That's a really, really valuable lesson. You create your own confidence. It's super, super valuable. So you finish your first summer. You took the approach of I'm going to control the controllables. You went and had a good first summer. Jaden went and had a good first summer. It was actually a ton of fun having you guys out there. I'd even turned into something where I had to go somewhere and like lead a branch off group. Your guys' date to go home was a little bit sooner. I don't even remember why. Somehow you guys ended up, or you ended up with one other vet. If anyone knows Caleb Watier, the GOAT, he's the co-founder of Meraki. Got to give him his flowers. And you guys were, but he's not like, Bino's just a dog. That man could go live in a closet for 6 months and not complain. Well, he'll complain, but he'll still get it done. And that was not a fair environment to leave you in at 18. Where I took the whole team. I don't even remember the situation. I really don't. But that part, I'm curious on that. What was the end of your first year experience? And then let's kind of go into your years after that.
So I think it was the last 2 weeks of my first summer. It's because I was going to school and you guys were all moving out to extension. And so at that point, Jaden had already gone home and then you guys had already left. So it was me, Lamb, and one other person, whatever. It was fun. I mean, because love Lamb. Like I think me and Lamb get along really well. And
He's the
so it was
GOAT.
really, really cool. It was just crazy going from all the structure of the team to it's just like, hey, it is purely up to you and Caleb to like either decide to work or just freaking get on the doors late, get off the doors early, whatever. And I think it was really cool to see Lamb at that point because I really didn't know all that well what I was doing, like what kind of standard to hold with it. And he was phenomenal as far as
He's
working.
a tank.
Yeah, like
he's
he
a
would
tank.
he would check in, check out, like, and that was really big for me to see because it's like obviously end of summer, you're thinking about home, you're figuring out your college trans, like all the stuff, housing, all that. But it was really cool because he'd text me every day and like it was all joking, like, oh, like, are we going out today, whatever. And it's like you always knew that you were.
Yeah.
We'd talk for a bit and he's like, cool, picking you up at 10:30, 11 o'clock, whatever it was that we were doing. And then those conversations out to hood were always so fun.
Yeah, and what's hilarious is that was my same guy. I ended up where me and him, we were out in Jackson, Mississippi at the end of my first summer too. And it was like me, him, and like 3 other people. And then it actually ended where it was me, him, and one other guy and his dog. And like he drove me to hood every day. I foot soldiered that whole year. Like, and that really was some of my favorite. He's the GOAT. Massive shout out, Lamb. That's hilarious. So then what? You get home, you're in school, and it's kind of this job's really interesting because it kind of turns into more than it is every year. And then it's like it sometimes if you choose to look at it through the wrong lens can be like, oh no, like I'm like, I just gotta go do it again because I gotta do it. But then really if you sit back and look at it, it actually turns into a massive blessing throughout your life. Like to kind of give a spoiler, like you've turned this in your early 20s with very, very few prerequisites and very minimal college education. You've turned this into a multiple 6-figure situation for yourself where you've already bought your second house. Like you're crushing, dude. You're married, you're doing things amazing, no debt. Like those are things people dream of having in their early 20s. How did that come from that first year? And it was great. Like you went and had a good year and then you went back to school and then you went back out the next year. Why go back out the next year? What was the reason? What's like the calling or what's the purpose of that?
I think the biggest thing was just realizing that off season, like just with talking to people, because I went down to St. George, right? It was down at Dixie for that semester. And it's, you don't want to compare to other people, but you just kind of see how other people your age are living, kind of what's stressing them out, what's like the big things in their life. And you kind of realize like the job kind of gives you a superpower of
Freedom.
being able, is being freedom. It's like, you can go on these dates that you want to go on. You can buy things that you want to do. You have time. You're not stressed like, hey, school is the end all be all. And so it kind of instilled some confidence of just like, okay, like maybe if I'm already feeling like I'm not ahead, but just like on the right path, and these people feel extremely lost, like just having conversations with them, most people in college feel extremely lost. And it's like, why would I not just keep going down the path that has been setting it up, you
Mhm.
know? And so that's kind of the biggest thing that led into that second summer of, okay, I've already done it. I know I can finish a summer. I can do that. It's like, okay, how big can I do it? And like, what level could I take it to?
Mhm.
So,
Really cool. That's a really good point, and I think as I sit back and think, it dude, the crazy part is the law of familiarity is such a bitch. And it's that way in everything. Like Tony Robbins, I always talk about Tony Robbins, but I just think he says the truth. Talks about how like the reason relationships don't work is because of law of familiarity. The reason that unhappiness will settle in a really amazing blessed life is law of familiarity. And it's crazy to go back in time and think about where your framework was and like where my framework was starting it, and then realizing, oh, now that we've been doing it so long, we're learning a really valuable skill of fighting the law of familiarity because we're surrounded by people where it's just normal. Like it's just normal for in our crowd that we run in, because we typically hang out with all the people we work with. I mean, we work with our family, our best friends. Like it becomes normal that as a 20-year-old you can go make 40 grand in 4 months. Like that's insane. And then it becomes normal that as a 22-year-old you can make a couple hundred grand in 4 months. And it just becomes normal, and it becomes like this thing. And I think we've done an amazing, I mean, I know we've done it because we're still in it, right? An amazing job of kind of combating that. But it's so interesting that that's like the framework, because it's such a true framework to look at it. Like people really truly are lost. They don't know what they're going to do. And this is like a really good direction setter for life. And the craziest part is it's like, dude, you could do this. I've done it for a decade now, right? Which is crazy to think. And you've done it for over half a decade. And it's like, you can do all that. And if somehow door to door became illegal today, we are like at the beginning of our lives. Like we haven't even entered our like career phase yet. We're in like our first career, right? So it's so cool to think about, and it's so cool to look back on how that was like your opinion. So yeah, after that, you went out the next year, you went and did your thing, and then it got really cool because around this time you started thinking about leadership, thinking about recruiting, seeing the incentive to go recruit, kind of building a group, and doing your thing while simultaneously still selling, while going through all of it. Like it's just a crazy, anyone who's done door to door knows exactly what I'm saying. Like as you're doing all that, it is like it's so damn hard. It is really hard. That's why not everyone does it. Um, but it was really cool to watch. And then it's been like my happiest moments of my career have been the moments where it's like, holy shit, you ran a successful break-off office. Holy shit, you went and made your first $250,000. Holy shit, like you're stoked and you're crushing. Like those are my happiest moments in door to door. And I'm curious from there, from that perspective of, man, like I kind of have this thing laid out in front of me, and I see everyone around me that kind of doesn't have that in their life, and I'm going to go take advantage. I think you've done an amazing job at taking advantage of that. What's that process look like? And what's like, what was next, and then why and how?
well, I think that's at that point, it's kind of where money started to play into things like, okay, like what is the best return on my investment of my time for it? And that's where you start focusing like, okay, like the next step is to get this line of income, this, and this. But it all boils down to like that leadership role, like you were saying, and every single person in this industry harps on leadership. Like, yeah, go out, crush, go make your money selling. But like, if you want to go anywhere, it's like you want to go and become a leader or at least have influence over people, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
the more people with you, the farther you go. If it's just you, you'll go fast, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then not as far,
Yep.
or however that saying goes. But that was the big thing, and then it was just kind of that next step of being uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I don't think anybody wants to go and put the pressure on themselves of making sure other people succeed, but you understand the more people you can help succeed, the better it is for yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like the best thing for yourself, the most selfish thing you can do is be selfless towards other people, because the farther you take them, the more you help them, like inadvertently it goes and it benefits you, which is super funny, and it's almost ass backwards how it works, but it's
Super interesting. That's one of the most wise things I think anybody could say or learn or embody is it's just true. If you can go provide more value and you can go help people find success, you will always be successful. Like Todd Peterson's golden rule of leadership, treat your people like gold and you'll always be okay. And like I think I've seen you embody that incredibly well. There's a reason I have you on the podcast. There's a reason I'm asking you these questions. I know you really well. Or I think I do, maybe I don't. But yeah, I think that's such a valuable thing. So then what was that journey like? Like you just talked about no one wants to add the pressure of wanting to help someone else find success. That's very true. And leadership can feel very lonely and it can feel very underappreciated. Um, for me, it's been significantly emotionally harder to be a leader than a salesperson, which is crazy because selling is really emotional, right? And it's really hard, and you're getting rejected all day. In leadership, you feel like if you're doing it the right way, in my opinion, you feel like you'd be willing to sacrifice yourself for your people's success. And I'm curious how that experience was early on, and then as it kind of developed as well. Like, was there a moment, or yeah, when were the moments? I'm not going to say was there because there always is where you're like, why the hell do I care about this kid that's treating me like shit, and I'm just trying to help him. Like I could make way more money forgetting about him and not spending an hour a day with him and just knocking an extra hour a day. And like I've had those moments. What was your experience getting into leadership?
I feel like for me it it was watching other people go and succeed started giving me like more of an adrenaline rush, more of a high, as you'd say, seeing them hit their accomplishments or their achievements, or like you set goals with these people and it's like you watch them go and hit it and you know you played a part in it, whether it was small or big.
Mm-hmm.
It gets kind of addicting, if
Yeah,
that makes sense. And so
makes perfect sense.
I mean, my introduction to it was I saw success for people that I had brought into the program pretty early on, like you're saying, Jaden, freaking absolute stud, went out and crushed it.
And just made changed his whole life.
Right.
Right? Like not just went and made good money, but like Jaden walks with a different swagger than
Oh
he
yeah.
did in high school.
Oh, 1000%.
And like he knows it and we all know it. And like I think it's because he for a lot of reasons, but I think it's because like this job, and when I say this job, I just mean hard things.
Right.
Hard things build strong men. Hard times build strong men.
Right.
And I think Jaden's been built into a super strong man. So yeah, you had really early exposure, even before necessarily running an office, that you saw
Right.
your impact on people, bringing them into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like Jaden, seeing him go and crush, that was awesome. Then other friends like Trent, Teague, BJ, all these guys that I've worked with. I mean, I could create a list of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you see them go and you see them get freaking stoked on a massive week or a massive deal, whatever. And it's like that feels better than if you go and rip your own deal, right?
Mhm.
Or your own thing. And so
It's very true.
that kind of got addictive for me. And it kind of, you realize like that was more driving for me than setting like a income goal or a sales goal or like what do I want to go do personally. Cause it's like, it's way more fun to see your people win.
It's totally true. Totally true. So then as your career kind of progressed, I'll give some spoilers. This is around the time when our cousin and one of our best friends growing up literally spent every Sunday with the kid, Crew Erickson. We'll have an episode with him as well, where you guys kind of found alignment and like, oh dude, like we complement each other really well and we both are trying to go do this thing. Like, what if we go figure out a partnership? And you guys started to like run shit around this time. Like then as years kind of went on, you guys, and fast forwarding to now, you guys run one of the largest teams in my entire organization with some of the highest success rate, and it's really impressive. Like as this was now introduced and you started actually filling the role of a leader, what was that experience? Because I know it's addicting to go see guys' success, and it's almost like I think the best position in door to door is a veteran in a really good office that recruited all your friends.
Yeah.
Because then someone else has all the pressure. You just go perform. You're the guy who brought them in, so they freaking love you. Like, it's amazing. And then all of a sudden, you're running a market. And it's amazing. It's the best thing ever, but it comes with its own bag of, like, challenges.
Mm-hmm.
How was that throughout your experience? Because we started off in a really good way. You kind of ran a satellite version where we ran an office, and there's like, okay, we're going to give you guys areas 3 hours away, so I'm close enough that if I need to, I can bomb out there. And I never had to bomb out there. Like you guys crushed, and that's ultimately why you're doing what you're doing now. But what was that experience? I'm curious.
Honestly hits like a truck. Because it goes from, like you're saying, the super fun, like it's all lighthearted, it's just competitive, great, whatever, to going and doing that, and you realize like you are now genuinely in charge of people's success. Like if you don't show up, like
It affects more than just
it
you.
exactly. And so that kind of reality hit really, really hard. And so it was kind of demotivating at first to where it just felt like so overwhelming, so stressful, so everything because you're looking at it like as this crazy thing happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm lucky. I mean, obviously having right people in the right places, whether it's crew, Dylan, these other people that we got to work with, and it's like you kind of get a step back with them and be in this position to like, okay, what do I need to go and do to go and ensure success, right? And so it was almost another step of freedom to where it's like, okay, yes, it's way more stressful and it's like you have a lot of responsibilities, but it's like you can now make decisions for the group. You can go and implement what you think is going to be best practices
Yeah,
for
you
the
can go
group.
fix the things that you saw needed to be fixed, or that maybe you're just even way better than I am at, where it's like, oh, dude, like I think anyone who knows both of us knows systematically you are a genius, and I'm as far from it as possible. And like a bunch of other things. And I'm like, I think that's a really interesting point. So yeah, keep going. Sorry.
No, and I appreciate the compliment for sure, but it was just kind of cool to start seeing it work out the ways that you started to plan it out. At least for me. Like you're saying, I love the systems of things.
Planning.
I love when things kind of track to what I have planned out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always do that.
Which is also why this job is so damn hard, because it
Right.
almost feels like it never does that.
Yeah,
But
you
when it
almost
does, you feel God sent.
yeah, you have to plan on it not working according to plan. But no, it was cool to see it kind of tracking towards that. And it just it was just like another it was more wind to the sail, kind of
Mhm.
just pushing me forward. Like I'm realizing like there's certain things that were pulling me in this job and then things that just like picked me up and kind of took off with it. And that was one of them that I loved.
Mhm.
So
Really cool. Really, really cool. What are some of like what were some of the, if you remember any specific instances or anything, some of the most deflated moments of leadership for you where it's like, what the fuck? Why am I doing all this for these people? Like, did you have those? I guess I can only speak for myself. I have had those moments. I'm curious if you have and if you remember any of them.
yeah,
You can make up fake names if you need to.
I'll just say some people. There's points in time and I think that hit me the hardest was people not thinking that you're looking out for them.
Hmm.
And that always stung the most.
Especially if you actually care about them. Like if you actually care and you're actually trying, totally does. Yeah,
Yep. But
totally.
I
And
think
how do you I mean, how do you deal with that? What do you do? Someone you wanna go freaking ride or die for doesn't feel that way, doesn't feel that from you for whatever reason, whether you're not executing perfectly or they're just looking through the wrong lens, like, how do you go deal with that?
um I think the biggest thing is just refocusing on what it is you can control, right?
Mhm.
Sorry.
You're good.
But just
You're
doing what you know you need to do for them, right? And so it just kind of always resorted back. It's like, hey, I know if I do X, Y, Z.
you're doing your part.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I think there's a lot of power in clarity, and clarity in identifying the things that will make you realize like, oh yeah, I'm doing my part, right? Like is the only solution, because frankly and put simply, in my 10 years of experience in this, is that will always happen, and the bigger you get, the more it'll happen, right? And the better you get, the more offensive it'll be, because you'll know how wrong, like you'll know like, bro, you have no idea, like you don't have any clue, like even compared to me as a leader 3 years ago, I've always cared a lot, but I haven't always been this good, and I'm giving you more value than the guys 3 years ago would thank me for up and down and tell me I changed their life, and you're sitting here telling me that whatever they're telling you, whatever they would be saying. But yeah, I totally understand that, and I'm very similar. And I think the only reason you get emotional is like we're born emotional. We're born very our family is we're empaths. So that's like the most offensive thing to us is if someone doesn't think we care when we care, or someone doesn't think we have the right intentions when we have the right intentions, or somebody like doesn't give us the benefit of the doubt when we've tried to do everything to earn the benefit of the doubt. I think we're very, very similar in that way, and I would totally agree with you on that. So as you get into leadership, right? As you get into leadership, now your job is not only do you have to go do your part to be successful, you've got to now go mentor and level people up to go get them to their potential. And that's a whole nother game, right? Like you got to go control your controllables, get clarity on them, and do what you need to do as a leader. But in addition to that, now your job is, okay, I now see this kid who is like, he has so much potential in him that he doesn't even see. And most of the time as a leader, your job is to believe in people before them, which is also really hard because that means you're asking people to do things they don't want to do because they don't see the reason. They don't believe that it's going to pay off. Now you have to go develop people, and that's a whole nother game. What do you think as you're training these guys, as you're now like the guy to go give them the advice? Like we'll kind of shift to that of like, what is it that they need to know? Somebody starting door to door, like what do they need to know going into it to make sure they have not only the most success, but they also grow the most from it?
I would say the biggest thing would be realizing you don't know it all. It doesn't matter what your background is, it doesn't matter what you've gone and accomplished. Like to go and have the mentality of you know more than everybody else around you is I think the dumbest thing you could do, right? No matter how much experience you have, because you get little golden nuggets from anybody and everybody. It could be a brand new rookie that just says something that freaking hits you to your core, or it could be a 10-year vet that's explaining something to you. And then he goes off on a tangent and that's actually what hits you, right? So my biggest piece of advice for anybody in like getting into the door-to-door space or anything like that is the more you talk to people, let people talk, and they will usually give you the best practices you'll ever hear, right? You can ask all these well-formulated questions that you think are going to get the answers that you really want. But if you just let people talk, they'll usually answer questions you didn't even know you had that would be by far the most beneficial thing for you.
Yeah, that's really, really good advice. It goes along with like, I think one of the fundamental qualities of someone to be successful in entrepreneurship. I hope people realize there's a massive parallel with entrepreneurship and sales. Like you're creating revenue out of thin air. You're creating value out of thin air. You're betting on yourself entirely. You're facing rejection. You're facing a massive, massive, overwhelming chance of failure every time you try. And the crazy part is if you can just go succeed sometimes, you're some of the highest paid individuals in the nation. You're learning things that you wouldn't learn until something else really hard happened in your life, which I don't know about you, but I would way rather go learn these lessons. Like this lesson that makes you emotional of like, man, you can do everything for someone and they can still like not think you care. Way rather learn that with my 19-year-old homies than my kids.
Right.
Like that would rock me way harder, right? And probably will still, but maybe I'll know a little bit better than I would have if I wasn't a leader. Of like, oh, it's just kind of how it is. Like, I just got to do my things. Like, I got to do the best I can do. I got to show up the way they need me to show up. I don't even remember why I was going off on a tangent about that. Sorry. But, oh, yeah. One of the fundamental, like, principles of being successful in sales, entrepreneurship, or any of it is coachability. And, like, that's one thing I think I give you an immense amount of credit for. I hope I've impacted that because I think I would also give myself a lot of credit for that. Like, I am a sponge. I have a really people are going to laugh that know me right now, but for a long time, even making very good money, I have a very hard time like spending money on nice things, or I did, I guess. And I still do in comparison. But I've never had a hard time spending to learn. I've never, ever had a hard time spending to invest in myself. I've never, and I think it kind of comes from a lot of people in our lives, but our stepmom, like one thing she like hammered into me was every dollar you spend on yourself to improve, you get back times 10. So that almost created like this monster in me where I made 128 grand my first year and I spent $20,000 to go to a Tony Robbins event. And like, it was the best thing I ever did. And I stand by that today. And since then I've gotten to go and kind of, you have been coachable enough to not only learn from me, there's only so much you can learn from me. You probably teach me more than I teach you, frankly, but you have gotten to be able to like I think you've bridged the gap and kind of come into the world with me of like we're just learners. Like we've been to Fiji together to a Tony Robbins event to go learn about health and money, right? We've been to UPW multiple times together. We've been to these different seminars, these different events, these different speakers that come and kick off at all the companies we've been with. Like we get to go sit in these presentations from executives that are presenting to us, and we have no business having that. Like, but we benefit from it because we're coachable. We don't sit there and like, I think that's one thing I would give us a lot of credit for and you credit for. And I'm just emphasizing your point to everybody else. Like coachability is so key. It's so freaking crucial. It's so key. It's so important. So that kind of segues perfectly. So dude, we've had some really cool opportunities to do some amazing things together. In life and in experience and travel, but also in like growth, which to me is my most fulfilling category. Like I value growth so much. And we've gotten to go do these things together. I'm curious from you, because I have a million. And like if we let me go, I mean, it's probably what 15 of my solo episodes are about things that I've learned from Tony Robbins events. Being coachable how you are, what's like just a couple or one or whatever. I want to be respectful of your time. I don't want to keep you too long. Like life lesson. It can totally apply to sales and it can be something you train your salespeople on for sure. But like I'm saying, like what's something you took, Rick? Man, I'm so glad if that was all I learned from that 3-year period, like that would have helped my life so much in so many ways that it would have been worth everything I had to go through to get there.
Mhm. I think one of the biggest that I have taken away from things like Tony Robbins, learning just throughout this job and hearing other people talk is learning to be okay with things not going the way that you want them to, but not stopping when they happen, right? I think a lot of people and myself included, like when things didn't used to go the way that I was planning on it in the order or whatever, it would just kind of be debilitating and it'd get me in my head. It'd be crazy and stuff. But just
Why? Because what meaning did you give it? Why would it be debilitating?
it was failure. Like in
It's
my
failure if it wasn't going how you planned it out.
Yep.
Makes
Yep.
perfect sense.
But what I kind of started to realize is like once I accepted that things weren't always going to go to plan, it's like I started realizing these situations as they had come up is you deal with them a lot faster and a lot more efficiently, right? Because it's like, okay, I expected something to go wrong. This is just what's going wrong or not the way that I wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, now it's just the next hurdle and the steps that we're taking, right?
Yep. I think even to elaborate on that, because that was actually, I'm very similar actually. That was one of the things, the wording and the language that I put behind it is life is always happening for you, not to you. And I'm very, very, very attentive to language and like words, especially lately, because I've been working with Ty Williams and he's a big believer that every word needs to like mean something, especially if it's like a motto like that. And the reason I would frame it that way and even elaborate on your thoughts is if you can challenge yourself to look at it through that frame, life is always happening for me, not to me. What that means is always is a word in there. It's not just life is happening for me, not to me right now, or it was or wasn't, because right now it's terrible. It's like, no. It always is happening for me, not to me. And for me, that framework has helped me be like, okay, this isn't going how I planned. But how can I look at it and see it in a way that it's happening for me, not to me? Because I come from a mindset originally, and I've really worked hard to be like, that where like naturally it's like, man, this is all happening to me. It's happening to me. Like these guys are being so disrespectful to me. Why is this happening to me? Why are these unfortunate and I'm not saying there's not unfortunate circumstances. I'm not saying there's not unpleasant things to go through. But what I'm saying is if you fast forward long enough and you put in the right inputs for long enough, you'll look back and be like, man, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. Getting laid off, getting sick, somebody passing away, like genuinely. And that's a very hard thing for people to internalize. And it might be insensitive of me to bring it up so surface level and so like abruptly without a bigger explanation. But like, yeah, you're spot on. If you another word for that is like trying to control things that aren't your business to control. Like trying to play God is a
Right.
very frustrating thing to do.
Right.
Right. And I think that's a really valuable lesson. I haven't really thought about that. I've never talked about it on the podcast either, but I think that's golden. That's really, really good. So my last question for you. A lot of people on here, obviously we've got a lot of the door-to-door folks that listen, a lot of the Meraki gang listens, we've got a lot of family, friends, a lot of people that are in the entrepreneurship courses at different universities around here. And then just a lot of people listen, but then we also have quite a few people who listen to this and have no clue what we're really talking about, but it's like entertaining, and they'll listen and they learn little lessons, but they don't know door to door, or maybe they know door to door, but they're like, nah, that's just totally not for me. Like, never have considered it. Door to door is this thing that is just a closed door in their mind.
Mhm.
Would you challenge them to open the door? And if you would, why?
I'd for sure challenge anybody to open the door to it. And I think the biggest reason why is there's so much more you can take from it than just financial gain and like the flashy stuff that you see on Instagram with people posting all over social media. Like, there's so much more to it than all the surface level crap that you see.
Mm.
And I think
Like what?
like you'll see people go and get this insane amount of confidence, but it's not ego. Like, there's a lot of ego in this industry, but you go and look at all the people that are doing it that are just a lot more quiet. Some of my best friends are probably the most quiet people you'll see on social media. They're the ones that go out and absolutely crush it. And it's just because they have that confidence from it, right? And they have these skill sets now that they are indestructible in any sort of environment, right? And so when the world's going up, when it's going down, like, it's all crazy right now. It's like they're the most level-headed people I know because they have that assurity, like, I will figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're not the ones flashing, like, buy my course, I'll teach you this, teach you that, whatever. Like, I think that's just has kind of given it a really, really bad taste in people's mouth that closes them off because they also think everybody that does sales is only focused on just the money side of things.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so obviously there's a million different things that you can go and take from this job. So it's like open it up, see what part of your life like you want to go and excel in. And it's like I'm willing to bet with almost a shadow of a doubt in my mind that there is a part of door to door sales or sales in general that can go and benefit you. So
100%.
that's what I'd say.
Really, really well put. I don't have anything to add. I think that's perfect. Jay, dude, I love you. Couldn't be more
too.
proud of you. Couldn't love you more. I mean, I couldn't be more excited, honestly, as well. Like, dude, you are doing some really, really cool shit. And I'm talking about life, dude. Like, you're doing some really cool shit. You got a baby on the way. Coolest wife I know. Like, just a really,
badass.
really, really cool, really, really cool opportunity for you to go make a really big dent on the world. So I'm proud of you. I'm honored to have you as my brother. I'm honored to have you as a partner. I just love you, homie. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Love you,
Yes,
sir.
sir. All you guys that watch, as always, much love. Until next time.